Work-life balance is getting a whole new meaning for some workers in the Bay Area. Perks for some new workplace developments include not only office space, but listen to this, a private spa, fitness center, even a golf simulator. Our media partner, the SF Standard, took a deep dive into a new such facility in Menlo Park. So joining us live is the Standard's business reporter, Kevin Nguyen. My mind is blown, the idea of a golf simulator. Have we gone soft here?
Hey, Dion, it's good to be with you. Yeah, I mean, look, we're in the post-pandemic world where landlords have to work a lot harder to bring people back into office, right? So we're seeing just not a flight to quality, but also people are thinking now about a flight to experience.
Yeah, clearly a cafeteria is no longer just enough. Let's dive right into the development itself, because the one in Menlo Park, it's called Springline, a resort by the developers Presidio Bay Ventures. It sounds too good to be true, but run us through what's included.
Yeah, so I think what's important to pick apart here, because there are a lot of complexes that offer a lot of amenities, but this is specifically a San Francisco themed resort, as I would call it. You have all the businesses there are from San Francisco, so you're thinking like Che Fico, Bear Bottle Brewing, Andytown Coffee Roasters, Burma Love, you name it. They're all coalescing here in this complex in Menlo Park, and it's next to fully leased offices and apartments. And in there, it's all-inclusive, right? That's what people think of when they think of resorts. There's a spa, there's a gym. All of it's all wrapped into this one facility. Again, that's kind of flying in the face of San Francisco, which is struggling in commercial real estate.
Yeah, and this resort-like concept apparently happening in San Francisco as well. 88 Spear in particular was mentioned in your piece, the developer's next project. What do we know about that site?
Yeah, well, it's one of these classic buildings in the financial district. It was built in 1967, 11 stories, and for the longest time, it was just a pure office tower. Pre-pandemic, I think people should remember that, office space, office vacancy was near zero. So, times were good. People didn't have to update their buildings much. Well, now, after COVID, it's vacant, and it was sold for over a 60% discount.
And obviously, the thing I think about in comparing the two cities is that space is a premium in FiDi compared to Menlo Park. Can you talk to me about the amenities that will be attracting tenants there?
Yeah, well, I think the biggest thing that Presidio Bay wants to do at 88 Spears, they want to add a completely entire new floor. So they want to build a new rooftop restaurant that will be kind of the jewel of that new jewel of that area to bring in new guests. But they're going to diversify the building, Dion. It's not just going to be office anymore. It can't be. They're going to build that gym. They want to include like all these pools that you can float or dunk into at different temperatures. They want to have personal trainers there, acupuncture, and then they want to turn parts of it into like co-working space, a cafe. Just again, bringing like a more diverse set of uses for this building outside of just, hey, let's lease it out to a few office tenants.
Yeah, and speaking of leases, we know that the commercial real estate market has taken a real hit in recent years. There's been a lot of talk about vacancies. How has the situation improved, and can you share a little bit more about the sales and what those have been like?
Yeah, so as I alluded to with the 88 Spear, we're still in the early innings of what they call a market reset, in which things are going to fly off the shelf at a discounted rate. They just have to, right? These buildings are no longer occupied by office tenants that generate revenue. So, to answer your question, we're still in the early innings of that reset. Activity is picking up in the office sector, but right now we have to wait for that reset to play through, and we have to remember that tech is contracting. Last year was a year of layoffs, so we need these companies to start kind of picking up steam and creating jobs again, which will then create a demand for office.
And that brings me to the next question, because in your article you mentioned something called Tier 1 properties. Tell everyone what that is, and also if they're going to be getting that asking price, you think.
Yeah, so I mean, the top level number for office vacancies in San Francisco is bad, but when you drill down to the nuance, the properties that have the best views, best location, are near transit, have a lot of amenities, those are doing well. Those asking rents are still going for about 40% more than the rest of the city. So, once you look into the details, there's always a little more nuance, and people still want to go to the best places.
Well, speaking of best places, You mentioned some pretty big names when talking about Menlo Park, Andytown Coffee, Burma Love, Che Fico. Did they have some incentive to move all the way to Menlo Park?
Yeah, a lot of these businesses I spoke to, they weren't even thinking about going that way until it was actually Presidio Bay that really picked them out specifically. Again, Dion, they went into Menlo Park with the idea of taking San Francisco and bringing it there because they're believers in it and they're from San Francisco. So what I found out was Presidio Bay was just actually a really motivated landlord who got involved with the permitting process, just made the tenant's life easier because they believe in their product and they didn't want to just wait around and have these companies figure it out for themselves.
Yeah. Real quickly, any insight, any sneak peeks onto the tenants potentially for 88 Spear then?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're still very early on. They got to get these permits approved, but the heads at Presidio Bay tell me that they want to keep betting on these local businesses, these homegrown concepts like they did at Springline. They believe in San Francisco and they want these the businesses that are grown here to keep growing here.
Okay, and we shall see. Kevin Nguyen of the SF Standard, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Dion.